Hello everyone, this is Adnan with another video on AWS Certified Solutions Architect certification. So in this video we're going to learn how do you provide security to S3 bucket. So there are mainly three ways you can provide security to S3 bucket is by ACL, which is access control list, bucket policy, and IAM. So we are going to see that how we can implement all three of them in the lab. Now when it comes to a security on providing to a bucket, basically we need to provide security to the objects that are sitting in the bucket. So bucket, we all know that it's a folder, and within that folder you have files of all types. You have Word files, documents, audio files, and everything. So it goes into the folder. So exactly like in Windows or Linux, when you have a folder, you can apply security to file level and folder level or on a server level. This is exactly what IAM, bucket policy, and S3 ACLs are. Now those three type of security options are available in S3. Number one, ACL is used for individual object, bucket policy is used for full bucket, and IAM is used per user per user or service. So in a very simple words, if you need to apply, if I need to apply basically a security setting to one object or few objects or selected objects within the S3 bucket, then I can use ACL. ACL is used for individual objects. Now in the bucket you can have thousands and thousands of objects in large buckets. In large companies you have thousands and thousands of objects, so it won't be possible to basically provide security to each individual object. In that case you can use bucket policies. Bucket policy will be applied to the bucket. It can be applied on a user, on an object, or it can be applied in many different ways. And then IAM is basically per user policy. So per user policy meaning we can apply policy on a user. So whenever that user is accessing this bucket, then those security settings will be applied. When to use the object ACL? When objects are not owned by the bucket owner and permission vary by object, then we use ACL. When do you use bucket ACL? To grant write permissions to the AC log delivery group to write access log objects through the bucket. And when to use the bucket policy? To manage cross account permission to all of the S3 permissions. So in general, just if you can keep that in mind, ACL is for individual objects and bucket policies for the complete bucket, and IAM is per user policy. Now ACL is an older concept. It is not deprecated yet, but AWS recommendation is to, as much as we can, use IAM and bucket policies to provide security to S3 bucket. Now in the lab, what we are going to do is, in the lab we are going to work with the two buckets. Here we are going to work with a policy as well. So first of all, what we'll do, I'll show you that once we connect to our S3 Amazon S3, we will find there are two buckets. One bucket, and in the previous video we made the second bucket, which is the replica bucket. So essentially there are just two buckets in S3. So first I'm going to show you how can you apply security ACL on an individual object. Then we will create a bucket policy and apply it to a bucket, and later then we can create a user in IAM, AWS IAM, and then apply policy and then grant a mic access to S3 so that he can see the bucket. Then we'll make a bucket policy to basically deny his access to the bucket. So there are three things that we need to do. So the first policy that we're gonna use is this one. This policy will grant public access to the bucket. So one more thing before I can jump into the lab is that if you have been through my previous videos, in previous video we created a bucket. And then in order to view the object inside, in order to view that object from the public, you need to grant public access to the bucket, number one, and then grant on each individual object, you need to grant the public access. So two types of access you need to do on the bucket, then you will be able to see that object over the internet. So this policy, basically what it does, it will allow all the objects public access with one policy. So you don't have to go object by object to allow public access. So this is the policy that we are going to apply in the bucket. So now so let's jump on to the lab. So all we need to do is just this, so I'm logged in with my admin account, and I can see two buckets here. First of all, I'm going to go into one of the buckets and see that if I can have a public access. So in the first example, what we are going to see that how can we use what is an individual access, what is ACL. ACL is basically whenever we change any security permissions on per object, that is known as ACL. So first of all, let me go to the object, and if I go to, let's say, one of the objects here, and going to the object, I'll try to access this file, and it will give me access denied. And here it's saying that this file cannot be accessed, and this is access denied. Now if you need to view this file, what we need to do is we can go back to to this file, and we all know that we need to go here and make it public. Now as soon as I try to make it public, it won't be able to make it public because the public access is not enabled on the bucket level. So first of all, I need to enable the public access on the bucket level. So I'm going to go back here to the bucket, and so first of all, I am going to enable public access, and in order to make it public, I'm gonna just save. So this is the first setting that we need to do. This is not ACL, this is a public level. This is a public level access. Now ACL will be considered when I go to the object and make it public. So when I make one object public, so if I need to make it public and I need to view this is known as ACL change. So now I made it public, and now if I go back to the bucket and go to the object here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the object. So I made it already public. I can just open this object and I will be able to see that object. Okay, so this type of access is known as ACL access control list. So when we do it, so if I need to view the other object, then I need to go to that other object and make it public again. So if I need to see this object, and I will try to access this now, and this will give me access denied. So this is called object level access. So I did make this document public. So I made changes to the ACL of this object and not this object. So this is what is known as ACL. So doing changes on the individual object. Secondly, now what is a bucket policy? Bucket policy is that let's say you have thousands and thousands of objects, and you don't want to basically you don't want to make any changes. You don't want to go through all of the object one by one and make it public. You don't want to make all of them public here, and you want to do it on the access level. So what you can do is you can create a bucket policy. So so now we are going to use a bucket policy. That the previous example was ACL when you do it individually on this, and second example is that we can make a bucket policy. This is called a bucket policy. Now when you create a bucket policy, you need to go to edit, and here you need to write a JSON script. So you can either write a JSON script or you can use a policy generator. Now when you use a policy generator, you can go through, you can add you can either create a policy, add the principal, and we are going to use that in a moment. But for this public access, there are predefined you can find that policy on AWS Amazon. So we are going to apply this policy. So let me bring that here. So this is the policy that I'm going to apply here. So this policy is basically, I'm going to copy from here, and I'm going to copy that in the comment section so that you can use that policy. This policy, you can get it off the AWS documentation, and there are many other policies. So what this policy is saying, it's just saying to grant public read get object access, it is allowed to all the objects. Star means all the objects, and action will be get object. So they all will be, so all the objects will be, so anyone can view all of the objects within this bucket. So that's essentially what that is. So I'm gonna just copy this, and now I'm gonna save settings. So as soon as I save setting, the policy is applied, and I will go back to the object here, and within the object, now remember that we never did made these documents public. Now if I go inside here and try to open this document, the document can open just without even us enabling making it public individually. So if I go to the second document, let's say if I go to this Teams file and I try to open this, so here it will be open. So the document is open. And what happened to the document that we got access denied? If I try to access it now again, so I'm able to see the document. So now we have seen two types of access. One type of access is that you went to the object, each object, and then from the action you can make it public, or you can make other changes too for any purpose, any other purpose this is called ACL, or access control list, whereas the bucket policy applies to the complete bucket. So the same setting we did for all of the objects using a bucket policy. Now we need to see the third type of security, and that is Iam Security. In Iam Security, we can, so this is basically granted to everyone who has access to the buckets. So this is object level, and also it is and bucket level access. So what if we need to grant somebody some user and specific type of access on one of the buckets? So in order to do that, what we need to do, first of all, we need to create a new user. So I'm just gonna go here, we know that we can create a user in IAM. So in IAM, I'm gonna create a new user. So going to the users and create a new user. So according to our architecture, I'm going to create a user called Mike, and I will grant him programmatic access, console access, and also I'm going to set a password. So once I set a password, so this is just password 1, and here I'm not gonna use this, so that user can use the same password. Permissions. So in the permission, what I can do, I need to provide him just S3 access. I'm not making him admin, just S3 read-only access, so he should be able to view all of the documents. So this is basically S3, so whatever is in the bucket, in all of the buckets, so he will be able to see all the buckets within S3. So this is the minimum permission that we need to give to this user. So I mean, if you don't see this here, definitely you won't have this group here. All you need to do is you need to create a group. So you can create a group and call this you can create a group call this S3 read only admin, and within this all you need to do is you need to select, so I'm gonna say read only S3, or I'm gonna look for S3, and I'm looking for this read-only access. We can grant him full access as well, but for now I'm just creating a group for S3 read-only group, and I created a group. So if you don't have it in the list, you can just create a group called like this, and then keep the group selected for Mike, and next, and done. No need for the tag, and create a user. So I created a user named Mike in this, and I'm gonna download the file so that I can log in with the user. So I'm gonna save this file, That is, so I saved this file. I'm going to open this file so that I can log in with Mike. So these are the credentials. So I am going to log in with Mike first. I'm going to log in with Mike. So Mike has the read-only access to S3. So, and I'm going to use that in an, so I'm going to log into the other browser. So here I'm going to log into the other browser because I'm logged in through Edge on with my username, but in this browser I'm going to log in with Mike. So but if you log in, you can log into the Edge or your own browser as well, but then it will log you off. So I don't want to log off my admin account that I have, and I'm going to log in with Mike. So Mike, the username and the password. So as soon as you log in, it will let me log in. So so this is why so why am I using two different browsers? So in this browser, which is Chrome, I'm logged in with Mike, and from the other browser here I am logged in with my name. Okay, so this is why I'm using two different browsers, so that I can see both type of permissions. So you can also log yourself off and log in with Mike in the same browser, but then you'll have to log back in again. So here I have two different browsers. Okay, so here I'm logged in with Mike, and here I'm logged in with my account. So if I go to S3 from Mike, so Mike has the read-only access, so Mike should be able to see both of the buckets. So Mike should be able to see both of the bucket, and he's read-only admin, so he should be able to view the buckets. So he should be able to view the files, but he shouldn't be able to upload anything. So if I go to upload, if I try to upload or delete an object, then Mike shouldn't be able to delete any objects. So okay. Okay, so let me try to basically delete something. So I'm gonna just select here and go to here, and let's say we need to rename the object. So I'm gonna try and rename the object. Here it's saying that I can, should I be able to rename the object? I won't, because insufficient permission. So Mike only has read-only access to this to this bucket. Now, so this is three types of access we did. So first we did object level access, make the document public, and then we applied a bucket policy to make all of the documents public in that other bucket, but not in this bucket. So in this bucket, if I go, most probably I won't be able to open this document. Let me see if I can open this document. Why? Because I didn't apply that policy in this document, that public access policy, because we applied that in this other bucket. So remember that I'm still logged in with Mike. Mike should be able to view the file as well, because here you can view the file. Yes, Mike will be able to view the file. So three types of access. One access is object level access, second is bucket level, bucket policy access, and the third is IAM access. So IAM, we created a user and then we granted him S3 access, so he will be able to log in. Now the last thing that I wanted to show you is that that we can apply a bucket policy so that Mike can be restricted from accessing one of the buckets. So here, since Mike is a read-only admin and he's able to view the objects in both of the buckets, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a policy on this bucket so that Mike shouldn't be able to see anything in the, so if I go into this, Mike is able to view all of the objects, so I'm gonna restrict him from viewing any object from this bucket. So Mike should be able to view all the object on the other bucket, but not from this bucket. So in order to do that, all I need to do is so since Mike is read-only, Mike won't be able to make policies here. I need to make that policy by using that other account. So I'm gonna go to my other account right here. So this is my other account, and what I need to do, I need to create a policy that Mike shouldn't be able to view anything, though he's a read-only admin, but still I want to apply a policy here. So in order to apply a policy, you need to go to permissions, and within permission I need to go to bucket policy, and then here I can edit a policy. So you can either write the script, I mean nobody writes the script, you can either take it from the documentation or you can use policy generator. Now when you use a policy generator, it is still open here, but it opens this policy generator. We need to create a bucket policy, and it is for S3 bucket. You can create policies of all these different types, but here we are interested in S3 bucket policy. And here we need to say we need to deny access, and who we are saying that it should be denied access to Mike. Now in order to bring Mike's principal name, which it needs ARN, so I need to go to IAM of the Mike. So I'm gonna go to IAM of Mike, so which is, I can take it from IAM right here. So I go to Mike, and this is the ARM value, which is Amazon resource number. So this number, I just copied it, and I will copy it in the policy generator. So principal is this person. And what do I want to restrict him from? I can allow or deny. So I need to deny his list bucket access. So these are all these different type of access that you can restrict or allow. So here in my case, I'm gonna go to one of the settings, which is called list bucket. So he won't be able to list the bucket. He will be able to see the bucket, but he won't be able to view anything in the bucket. So this, and where do you need to apply this permission? So I need now here ARN of the bucket. So bucket ARN is right here. So this is the bucket, and I remember we went to the policy, and this is bucket ARN. I'm going to copy this from here and go into the policy and put it here. So there are very few things that we did. So all we did in order to create that policy, remember what we are doing, we are trying to restrict Mike from viewing all of the objects, because Mike is a read-only S3 read-only admin. He is able to read all of the object, though he cannot make any changes. So in order to deny his access to one of the buckets, so this bucket, the other bucket he will be able to see, but this bucket we are creating a bucket policy. So bucket policy can override, or any restriction override any allow statements. So read only would allow him to view object, but this policy, once we create a deny access, then he shouldn't be able to list the objects or view the objects. So in order to do that, we came here to the bucket policy generator, and in here all we did change this to S3 deny access, provided his ARN. We got it from the IAM management. Right from here within users, we went to Mike and copy it from here, and in the policy we said that he shouldn't be able to list the object, which is this. You can also say as list all my buckets. So you can also deny access for everything, but we are saying deny only this bucket, and here is the bucket name, and all I need to do is add statement. Now once I add statement, I need to generate policy, and it provides us the policy. So all I need to do, copy this policy. So this is just a policy generator. It doesn't apply to anywhere. It would just provide a policy. This is an easy way so that we don't have to write this JSON script. So we just so this is a very good feature when creating a policy. You don't have to write anything. You just selected what you need, and the policy is created for us. So now I need to just copy this, close, and bring it here, and in the policy I need to paste it. So Control V. Once you do Control V and it is pasted, policy is right here, and you can save it. So once it is saved, so policy is saved now. Now in the policy we can see here the policy is saying that it is deny for who? For Mike, and for this bucket. So, and what he cannot do, he cannot list anything in the bucket. So now all I need to do is, now we need to go back to Mike. So let me bring the other browser where Mike is logged in. So Mike is logged in here in this other browser. Now if I go back to buckets and see, because permissions are applied, if I go to this bucket here, and here if I refresh. So now as soon as you refresh, it will give insufficient permissions. So the policy we applied, now Mike is not able to list anything in here, but if I go to the other bucket, which is this one, Mike is able to view all the objects. So there is no policy. Mike is a read-only admin. He should be able to view everything. So guys, this is how we work with S3. It's I mean, it's not very difficult, but there are few things that you need to learn. So maybe you can pause the video, go back and try this. I would say try at least 3 times. So one time by following the video, make your own notes and understand what we did, and then apply it so once by following the video, the second time or the third time on your own. Okay, so one more time, S3 bucket security can be managed in 3 different ways: ACL, bucket policy, IAM. Thank you for watching this video.